Hi friends, it's Heike Yates here with the Pursue Your Spark program. And today I'm talking about how to stay strong through breast cancer. Specifically, I'm talking about cancer and breast cancer and diet, foods to eat, foods to limit, fitness strategies, and 3 action steps that you can right now, today, to reduce the risk of breast cancer or getting breast cancer. Breast Cancer Awareness Month is October, and the entire month of October, you will see many other people posting about um, breast cancer in October. And it is such an important topic to talk about. And don't only talk about it in October, have it in the back of your mind for the rest of the year and the rest of your life. You know, no single food can prevent breast cancer, but the choices you make and the foods you eat can boost your immune system and your strength overall while going through breast cancer or after breast cancer as a breast cancer recoverer. Did you know that about 1 in 8 women, that's about 12% of women, will develop breast cancer in their lifetime here in the US? And I thought I was going to share a different story of how I became a breast cancer coach and how breast cancer has affected me through the clients that I see. But the other day I went to get acupuncture. So I do acupuncture once a year, and my good friend, who is my acupuncturist, always asks me how I'm doing, what's going on, and before we start my treatment. And we've known each other for a very, very long time. And I told her about some tummy troubles that I've been having, which is what she's been seeing me for my colitis and treating my colitis. And then I told her about that. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that with all the actions I'm taking and the encouragement I'm giving out. And she looks at me and she says, Heike, they just found a lump in my breast. And I didn't know what to say. And I said, oh my God, when, why, how, what's the next step? Where are you in the process? And she said, well, I don't know anything because my doctor just found the lump. They don't know if it's benign, if it's a fatty tissue. So my next step is to get a mammogram. So I'm still waiting for her to tell me what's going on. And I said, it is ironic that I just did a whole podcast and a long blog post about breast cancer and breast cancer survivors and diet and exercise. And she, as an acupuncture specialist, I said, I don't have to tell you these things. You live them, but you may want to just listen into my podcast as a refresher. So I'm hoping, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it is benign, but see how important it is to know your breasts and to examine them yourself. And let me backtrack a little bit because I get a little bit emotional about this. So we're talking diet, but also who is at risk to develop breast cancer. Now, some of it is genetics, race, ethnicity, family history, or that you had an early period, or that you started menopause after the age of 55. So these are like red flags. And this is something that you need to know from your own family history where you fit into this category. But we're talking foods that are high in phytochemicals today in our breast cancer and diet portion of what I'm talking about breast cancer and breast cancer recovery. Phytochemicals. This is like a mouthful of word for me. It's fruits, vegetables, grains, beans are some of them. So phytochemicals are believed to protect the cells from damage and that lead to cancer. So there's no harm in boosting your body with phytochemicals and cancer fighting agents like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, Brussels sprouts. They're all high in phytochemicals, but also berries, peaches, tomatoes. Tomatoes also have lycopene, super important to know for men and cancer, but also for women. Then we have whole grain flour, bulgur, oatmeal, brown rice, and all kinds of unprocessed foods that are high not only in phytochemicals, but they are high in fiber, which helps with elimination of some of the estrogen that's in your system, vitamins and minerals. So there's always good stuff in there. And then, of course, we can't forget about the omega-3s, our good fat, which is the flaxseed, the tuna, the sardines, not so my favorite, but nuts and seeds and chia seeds and walnuts, plant oils as well. So we're talking about flaxseed oils, soybean oil, and canola oil. So you have a lot to choose from in your nutrition plan or your approach to nutrition that helps you fight cancer or helps you support your immune system. When you think about fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and beans, like I said, they provide fiber and they help not only flush out the toxins or eliminate toxins, but they also help limit the damage that can be done by any, let's call them cancer invaders, by all these cells. So think of the list. Remember, you can always go back to my podcast with the same title as today, or to my podcast at Heike Yates and read in detail, take notes or screenshot it. But now on to limiting foods, because there are foods that are promoting inflammation, as we know from intermittent fasting. And if you've been following me, I've talked about inflammation in the gut, which are also increasing the risk for different kinds of cancer, not only breast cancer. So added sugar, we're talking about all the O's, the dextrose, the fructose, the glucose, the high corn syrup fructose, lactose, all the O's have no business in your diet. Then we have saturated fats that you want to limit, like beef, lamb, intestinal organ meats, cheeses, and definitely deli meats, unless everything is organic, still limited because they can increase inflammation in your gut. Of course, then we have the processed foods, which are loaded with all the sugars and all kinds of what I call other crap that we definitely want to limit, and that's baked goods, crackers, margarine, things like that. Finally, I know a lot of us, and that includes me, we love a good glass of wine or two at night. But definitely limit your alcohol consumption. When you think about that, the guidelines are currently a 1 drink per day. If you think that the alcohol that you drink contributes to potentially increasing your risk of breast cancer, I think it's worth it. We are drinking less wine and live healthier. But remember, but I haven't told you that yet, that women who drink 3 alcoholic beverages a week increase the risk of breast cancer by 15%. That's a lot. So have your wine, enjoy it, but also keep a tab on it. It is so easy to come home after, well, we're working from home, so come from your work, go to your living room and say, whew, what a monster of a day. I need to de-stress. And it becomes a habit. And you do that every day. And out of the 1 glass, it's 2 glasses, maybe a half a bottle if you share it with somebody. So keep tabs on it, because then as we're drinking, we're also craving salty snacks for the most part, crackers and cheese. Oh, here we go, crackers and cheese, not where we want to go. So please, please, please think about that. Now, there's also other cancer fighting strategies that are super easy to incorporate into your day, and that is vitamin D. Go out. I just went for my run this morning once the sun was up, And you can get vitamin D through the sun, but also eating eggs, cold water fish, or drink fortified milk. So that's a way of getting your vitamin D. Green tea, totally awesome for as an antitoxin and helps strengthen the immune system and reduce potentially the risk of breast cancer. Turmeric, you've heard of turmeric. It's a golden milk. I've tried the golden milk, it was not so my favorite, but every taste is different. But it's a yellow spice, has a very strong smell. And turmeric is also an anti-inflammatory, which could help limit the growth of cancer cells. Now, you say, oh, Heike, your list sounds really great, and I hear what you're saying, but how the heck do I put this into action? Now, here's some action steps that you can take so you're prepared and your diet is high in phytochemicals and anti-inflammatories. And that means you grill or you bake your food. Super easy. You can just throw your fish on the barbie, you can throw your salmon on the barbie, and then you use the tomato and avocado that you have in your fridge and make a little side dish with it. Or you could pre-cut vegetables the day before. So all you have to do is, like I did yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I baked my broccoli and my cauliflower. And what I like to do is I like to cut it into small little pieces, put it on a big baking sheet, little salt and pepper, olive oil, and then I put this in the oven at 375 for about 40 minutes. I toss them around a little bit once because the broccoli tends to take a little bit less than the cauliflower. So cauliflower is a little bit longer to cook. And I'm done. And here are my super nutrients that I need to fight cancer. Think about creating a salad with a little olive oil and fresh herbs. So there's many things like, one of my favorite too is throwing in a handful of kale or spinach into the stews I'm making. Since I'm making a lot of times stews with coconut milk in them, I throw that in because my husband is not so crazy about this. But once I throw in the kale into the stew, he has no idea that he's eating cancer-fighting foods, which are also good for men to have because men do get breast cancer as well. Now, what are my top 3 tips to fight breast cancer? Is exercise. Number 1 is exercise. I want you to start checking in if you're exercising enough. Enough is a relative term, but I would like you to do alternate workouts. As I'm a big fan of cross training, I want you to do 1 day of cardio for the heart and second for strength. So there could be a Pilates class with a Pilates teacher. If you're currently a breast cancer recoverer, then you want to look for somebody like me who's certified in Pilates breast cancer application with their clients. So we know exactly what to do or not to do when it comes to lymphedema or when you've had your breast removed of how the tissue may be burned and things like that. So you need somebody that knows what to do. I want you to look at your weight. Don't just blame it on menopause. Take charge of it and say, okay, I need to lose whatever amount of weight and I'm on it. I may go through Heike's 4-week lean out program with intermittent fasting, or I could just start by cutting down my portion sizes. Instead of a big plate, I use a small plate and I eat 1 plate of serving. So you're reducing the portion sizes. Or you could start saying, I leave out just lost my train of thought here. I leave out complex carbohydrates. So you leave out your pasta and maybe your potato for a while to help you, and rice to help you start the process of losing weight. But think about, you want to make sure that you are a healthy weight, that you're exercising, and that you are watching your portion size to help you get to a healthy weight. And remember, besides strengthening your immune system and besides eating healthy and exercising, get your mammogram, get to your annual physical with your OBGYN. Go get a mammogram once a year. Don't skip it, don't postpone it. I took mine a little bit later because of COVID, but I did it. And remember to do your monthly self-exam. I got a card for you here, and that is in Spanish, and it teaches you exactly how to do this. And I have another one that's the backside, and that's the one in English. So grab your cards, get in the shower, and start practicing. Because as my OBGYN said, well, how would you know if you had a lump? I'm like, well, I'm not really sure. And she says, practice, because the more you know your breast, the more you know what to do if you develop a lump or something unusual is happening. So with this, my friends, it is October. Know your breast, get to know your breast, and do your self-exam. And as always, I'm back here next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.